Story time. Come here and take a look at this. Check how I was this close from catching the HIV virus, and she ended up giving it to my friend. But listen, you know how I usually do a 5-6 series parts? I'm gonna make this nice and fast for you. Fellas, wrap up and be safe. So look, one day we was out at a party, all willy-nilly, off that head dog and dog, thinking with our head down there and not the head up here. And all we see was a pretty face with a nice shape and a nice buttocks. And I run down on her. And me and my homies, we got this little clique. And every time we go out, they use me as clickbait to go get the girls. This particular day, they say, hey, this girl had been turning everybody down. They say, Josh, I bet you $100 you can't go pull her. So my dumb thirsty tail, I proceed to go get a number. I asked if she wanted a drink. She said, yeah, I'll buy a drink. Just like that. I got a number. Make a long story short, we in the car later on that night, and my drunk tail, I make a video. I'm like, yeah, man, we out here thugging. I put the camera in her face. Behold, I get a DM on the requested. I get a DM from somebody that I don't follow, and they say, hey, bro, that girl with you, she's sick. Which means she's sick. She got the flu? It's cool. We can go to CVS, get some flu medicine. They say, nah, she got that thing, that virus. But you know me, I'm thinking they hating. I proceed to go about my business. So after the party, we got this house we got. All the homies link up after the party. So I go back to the party. Go back to the house I'm at. So when I get there, we all linking up, everybody drinking, woo-da-woo-da-woo. And listen, this what being a fake friend would get you nowadays. The girl rode with me there. She supposed to be there with me, right? But I get an emergency call saying something happened with my daughter, so I had to leave. Check how my friend double-crossed me and ended up sleeping with the girl. Yep, she ended up giving him that thing. This is a viable lesson. Do not cross your best friends. Well, I ain't gonna say best friends. Don't cross your friends. Just be loyal. Y'all let me know if y'all want a part 2 for me to go in depth. But this is an ongoing case, so I can't really talk too much about it. But if I get enough likes and comments, I'll do a full, long story time. Let me know in the comments. Story time. Come here and take a look at this. Check how I was this close from catching the HIV virus, and she ended up giving it to my friend. But listen, you know how I usually do a 5-6 series parts? I'm gonna make this nice and fast for you. Fellas, wrap up and be safe. So look, one day we was out at a party, all willy-nilly, off that head dog and dog, thinking with our head down there and not the head up here. And all we see was a pretty face with a nice shape and a nice buttocks. And I run down on her. And me and my homies, we got this little clique. And every time we go out.
If you flew to a city because of an Instagram DM and came home with a souvenir you didn't buy, that's not romance. That's paperwork. Let's talk about moving for love and moving into a clinic. Yo, real talk. I get why people chase a dream. New city, new energy, maybe someone who looks like a cover photo. But here's the messy chapter nobody reads. People aren't their filters. You can't swipe into someone's immune system. Imagine telling your mom, I moved to Houston for love. She asks, for how long? You say, apparently permanent? Cue the paperwork and the late night calls to the clinic. This isn't shame. It's sorrow. It's empathy for someone who packed their hope into a suitcase and ended up with lifelong medical news. That's heavy. And whatever you think about choices, the one thing we can insist on is honesty. If someone knows they're carrying something that can hurt another person, that's not a relationship issue. That's a responsibility issue.
Listen to this shit here. We gonna talk about this.
Disclosure is my choice. When I disclose and how I disclose and who I disclose to is up to me. I find it so crazy how people are telling me that I need to disclose before I go on a date, that I need to disclose before I kiss somebody. This is the craziest one. Before I even tell them my name. It's not happening. I don't think that it's my responsibility to tell someone that I'm HIV positive if they are treating me as if I'm not. Your health is your responsibility. Adopt the mindset of medical practitioners. Assume that everyone has something until they prove to you that they do not. Why are you kissing a stranger or trying to kiss a stranger that you just met? Why are you trying to have intercourse with someone raw that you just met? You don't know me from a hole in a wall. Why are you trying to put your thing inside of me without any kind of protection? Why do I have to be the one to say, hey, chill out, I'm HIV positive, instead of you asking, taking the time to know me, get to know me. Let's go get tested together if you want to take the next step. Why do I have to be the one protecting you from yourself? No, baby. That is not my responsibility. And I just wanted to make that clear. Okay.
Man,
bye.
that's crazy. Understand this. HIV is not AIDS. This is important, folks. I want y'all to look at that lady, man. This girl on TikTok. I got this from TikTok. This girl is off TikTok. I ain't gonna put her name out there, but it's for you guys to know, bro. AIDS and HIV don't got no look, bro. You hear me? See, y'all not fearing it like when we feared the 90s of this. This shit was real, boy. People was dropping like left fly like it was nothing. And you hearing this girl telling you, man, I ain't got to tell you shit. Now, I've kind of feel her and I kind of don't. Nah, as a man, I'm a dude. I don't feel that shit. Because you just thinking about sex, man. I'm thinking about all kind of shit. Like, what if if you throw up, nigga, and it fall on my leg or something? Like, I'm thinking of all that shit. It's like, that shit is deaf to certain people. So anything deaf, I think somebody need to be told about it. What you think? Like, if I got my gun on me, don't want to know? Ain't like I'm about to shoot it, but you still want to know, nigga, death on me. Am I tripping or I got that death on me. You got that death on you and it's kind of messed up, but you can kind of fix it. You can get these pills that make you have HIV forever if you take care of it. So that's why we have to educate ourselves. This disease came a long way, but it didn't just disappear. I think it's at an all-time high. So fellas out there, you understand this. All jokes aside, my dude, this is serious. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no pandemic. This ain't no coronavirus. This is one of them viruses called the HIV. We had names for it called the motherfucking Hulk. But I'm telling you, it's real, bud. And I'm trying to tell you, don't have a look. Bianca look very normal, don't you? Get up in that, boy. That's all we got to say. So I'm going to try to tell you, man, start looking for wives, bro. Get you a wife, my dog. Stop out here raw dogging, because you get that motherfucker, it's over. You hear me? This is good awareness that she's telling you this is people out here like this. I mean, I think she would think she'd aware of us for the HIV. Now, we've been know about the HIV. It just, now we know that people out here, they ain't gonna say shit. She telling y'all right out of her damn mouth. You ain't following her on TikTok, she say she ain't finna open her mouth. You shouldn't be thinking about sex. A normal human being, you arouse them unless you got something to cover them. But at the end of the day, like I say, you might not be thinking about sex. All men ain't thinking about sex, I'm just saying. But I would think if you dating, he looking at you like, would I have sex with her? That's what I'm trying to get at y'all, for y'all to go left. You know how these weird motherfuckers get on the internet. Oh my God. No, what I'm saying is, if we dating, I'm looking to get some of that. Or I'm not finna date. Y'all comment below. I'm not the type of nigga to wait for no damn marriage. I got to know if some of that's even worth even continuing. That's me. I ain't finna be playing with you for some of that. There's too much of some of that out there to be playing with you. Is that some of that worth keeping on? Because that some of that be having some of us, okay, yeah, this is the type of some of that I could be with the rest of my life. You feel me? If we got to pick that from the rest of our life, I'm trying to figure, I'm on that right now. Like, I need to know what that's like, period. All this other stuff, okay, next. I'm just saying, I like to get to know a person, of course. That's also for the rest of your life. But I got to know what some of that is. I ain't one of them. That's just what I'm saying. Y'all comment below what y'all think about this. Should you tell or should you not? I mean, I guess, isn't it murder if you do it and they don't tell? So I'm assuming she's saying is, if she don't have to tell you if she's around you. And that's a lot of stuff that people don't have to tell. But that's just me. That's like, I don't have to tell you if I got my gun on me. You feel me? We both got death on us. This Hood News Radio.
What city you go to. If you are going to engage in sexual activity and you're not going to be responsible, then you should expect to catch something. That's just the bottom line. If you're not going to ask people, have you been tested? If you don't know your status, if you're not going to ask for my charts and stuff like that, then you should expect to catch something. How can you expect not to catch any type of disease and you don't ask and you're not doing the work to protect yourself? Come on, let's do better.
I said it, man. I said it. How many times do I have to say it about coming out here to Houston looking for a relationship, man? Guy posted something on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. He moved here about 3.5 years ago, man, because he wanted to come to Houston to connect with a female that he met through Instagram. She looked good, standing behind a car, nice fitted outfit on, body was banging. Got here and found out that it wasn't what he thought it was. His story is that when he first met her through Instagram, that she claimed to be a nurse and going to school to on her own dentistry office or whatever. Get out here. A week after he moved out here, a week before she moved out here, she claimed that she lost her job. Her car was getting repoed or had got repoed. And that's just not the crazy story. After they started dating for a while, he noticed that she started disappearing from home a lot, and then when she would come home, she would have all of her friends over, and he didn't have a job, so he didn't have medical insurance or anything like that. He started messing with her and everything was good. About 3 weeks into the relationship of him moving out here to Houston, he ended up contracting something that caused him to burn when he was urinating. We know what that is. That's that big G. You guys don't know what the big G is? That stands for gonorrhea. So he's online crying about that she burned him. He caught gonorrhea. He swore he never cheated on her. He didn't know anybody out here. Now that's 3 weeks after he moved out here. Now, come to find out, he's online saying that he has HIV symptoms, guys. It's a sad story to see this man on here crying like this, but it's real. And this is why I say, coming out here to Houston, man, trying to date, man, you're going to end up catching something that not even a doctor can get rid of. Now, in the video, he did say that he's healthy, he's taking medication, that's kind of keeping it under control a little bit, but he's heartbroken because he said that she knew that she had HIV and she should have told him. I think that that is a crime. That should be attempted, you know what, because when you willingly know that you got a virus like that, you're supposed to tell partners, people that you're about to engage with, especially if it's going to be something in the bedroom. So now he has to live with this for the rest of his life. He also went on in the video to say because he contracted what he contracted, there was no need for him to leave her because nobody else would want him anyway. Because he would have to expose the fact that whoever he talks to, that he is infected. So he is still with the lady, but this is the perfect example of what I was saying, guys. You cannot be coming out here to date if you're looking for a date. Come out here just to party.
Look, rates for HIV and other STIs are climbing in many southern cities. That means the odds you're playing with aren't imaginary. Testing windows and false negatives are real. So a negative test 2 days after a hookup isn't the same as being in the clear. Here's how not to become a cautionary tale. Get tested regularly, every 3 to 6 months if you're active with multiple partners. Use condoms. Always have them. Treat them like deodorant. If you left home without it, you made a mistake. Consider PrEP if you're at ongoing risk because it actually works. Don't accept screenshots as proof. Ask to see a legitimate test and do your own test together. If someone refuses to talk about status, walk. No negotiation. Sexual discipline isn't romantic sounding.
I'm about to have a real conversation with you all. Now, I know lately in the news, they express that Houston has a very, very high STD rate. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. People do not care about catching anything. People do not fear HIV. People do not fear syphilis, gonorrhea. People don't fear none of those things. People live life on the edge and they are pleasure chasing, meaning they don't care about the consequences. Long as they can feel good in the moment, that's it. That's all people chase, And I'm telling people the reality of it is people really, when it comes to sex, people don't care about protecting themselves. And ladies, listen to this. I'm a man. I hang around a lot of men. Had plenty of conversations with men. And men, we love to talk about women and stuff with each other, right? And over the years, I can tell you now, the things that I've seen men do and heard men do is crazy. I'm talking about people married, long relationships and out here having unprotected sex with different people and coming back home like nothing happened. On top of that, not using protection. You got men who will fly out the country, have sex with foreign women unprotected, come back to their wife and girlfriend, sleep with them unprotected like nothing happened. Don't even go get tested. And let's talk about, there's a window in time when you need to get tested. If you have unprotected sex, don't go run to the doctor 2 weeks after that thinking that your results are gonna be authentic. They're not. They're not gonna be good results because you have to wait until whatever virus it is detectable. And some of y'all play games. Y'all know that stuff will not be detectable within a week or 2 weeks after unprotected sex, but you'll run and go get tested real quick. And be like, oh, I'm clean, bro. You ain't even give enough time to settle in your system. See, people do that too. But that's a whole nother conversation. But man, I'm telling you, these men nowadays, all you have to do is have a pretty face, nice body. Matter of fact, you don't even have to have a pretty face. Just a nice body, and the dude will hit you raw consistently and not even ask you about your status.
Imagine you find love in the workplace. You fall in love with a coworker, y'all dating, going on concerts, going on different dates, seeing each other all the time. I mean, everything is amazing. And you decide now y'all want to be a little bit more intimate. You know what I'm saying? Y'all had did something before, but you were like, you know what, let's do this the right way. Let's get tested. Let's make sure we're both good. You get your results back and it's negative. You ask him what was his results. He tell you it's negative. Everything is going amazing until you started getting sick. Oh, you got stays in the hospital. You're losing weight. You lost almost 65 pounds. You go to the dentist and he tell you there's thrash all in your mouth. And that's not normal to have thrash in your mouth without there being an underlying condition. This last stay at the hospital, the doctor comes in there and he tells you, hey, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but you have AIDS. You've been infected. You're like, what? Because you're knowing that you and your partner has been tested. Ain't nowhere in hell you could have anything. But only to find out that this man here, Kareem, your co-worker, infected you. Not only did he infect you, he infected his wife that he had, that you knew nothing about. Now this man finds out that you have it, and you're pursuing a case against him because you come to find out his wife is infected, and she's been infected since 2009. And here it is, 2013, and you have it. So he knew he was infected, and he intentionally infected you, but you also find out he intentionally infected his wife as well. This man is from the Houston area. You need to share and repost this because the women in that area need to know if they've ever came in contact with him, it's a possibility you might be infected as well. He's currently took a plea deal for 30 years for intentionally infecting women. Once again, I want to say he's in the Houston area. Share and repost so that the women in that area can know.
Now, I don't live in Houston or nothing, but I've been seeing this topic about HIV going crazy out there. Like, it's so bad that somebody that work at a hospital got on TikTok crying about the people that she done told that they got HIV. Y'all need to be careful out here, for real. Like, yeah, it's in Texas, but I just think about all the people that live in my city that didn't went to Houston for a trip. Everybody laying down with everybody and doing what they doing unprotected, not knowing nothing. I don't know. Y'all just need to be careful out here because it's wicked. What's y'all thoughts on it, though?
I found out I was HIV positive after noticing strange spots on my body and experiencing high fever. It all started after a night out with my friend. I remember drinking way too much, definitely more than I should have. Things spiraled so quickly that I completely lost control of what I was doing. My friend tried to get me home safely, but we got into an argument and she decided to leave. I stayed at the party with some other people and eventually met this girl. She seemed fun, and the last thing I remember was dancing and having a good time. The next morning, I woke up in her bed confused, hungover, and with no clear memory of what had happened. I left quietly before she woke up, telling myself it was nothing serious. I thought that night wouldn't come, back to haunt me. But about a month later, I started dropping weight fast. I was constantly running a fever, had pounding headaches, and weird spots started showing up on my skin. That's when I started to panic. Deep down, I had a terrible feeling about what might have happened that night. So I finally went to the hospital. And that's when, comment if you want to hear part 2. I found out I was HIV positive after noticing strange spots on my body and experiencing high fevers. It all started after a night out with my friend. I remember drinking a lot way more than I should have. Things got so out of hand that I completely lost control of what I was doing. My friend tried to get me home safely, but we ended up arguing and she decided to leave. I stayed at the party with some other friends and eventually met this guy. He seemed fun and the last thing one remember was dancing and having a great time. The next morning, I woke up in his bed, confused and unable to recall most of the night. I left before he woke up, brushing it off like it was no big deal. I thought that night wouldn't have any consequences, but a month later, I started losing a lot of weight. I was constantly running a fever, had terrible headaches, and noticed strange spots appearing on my skin. That's when panic set in. Deep down, had a terrible feeling about what might have happened that night. I decided to go to the hospital, and that's when, comment if you want to hear part 2. I found out I was HIV positive after noticing strange spots on my body and experiencing high fevers. It all started after a night out with my friend. I remember drinking way too much, definitely more than I should have. Things spiraled so quickly that I completely lost control of what I was doing. My friend tried to get me home safely, but we got into an argument and she decided to leave. I stayed at the party with some other people and eventually met this girl. She seemed fun and the last thing I remember was dancing and having a good time. The next morning, I woke up in her bed confused, hungover, and with no clear memory of what had happened. I left quietly before she woke up, telling myself it was nothing serious. I thought that night wouldn't come back to haunt me, but about a month later, I started dropping weight fast. I was constantly running a fever, had pounding headaches, and weird spots started showing up on my skin. That's when I started to panic. Deep down, I had a terrible feeling about what might have happened that night. So I finally went to the hospital. And that's when, comment if you want to hear part 2.
Guys, I don't know about you, but it seems like just about everybody that I know is sick right now. I had about 4 or 5 coworkers already this week call out because they were sick. My mom was sick a couple of weeks ago. She had influenza A. My wife was sick in the house. She was dealing with some aches and pains, headaches, body aches, and all the other sort. Everybody, please just take care of yourselves. Hopefully, this all subsides soon. But there is something very troubling going on because it just seems like everybody is catching some illness.
On July 25th of 2025, reports have confirmed that Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. plans to remove every member of the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force, a move that would have devastating consequences for evidence-based medicine and the future of preventative care in this country. So as a clinician, I can tell you this is not just a bureaucratic shuffle. The USPSTF is the reason insurance companies are required to cover life-saving cancer screenings, depression screenings, HIV prevention medications like PrEP, and other essential services at no cost to patients. Their recommendations are based on decades of peer-reviewed research, not politics. Removing the entire panel isn't about reform. It's about silencing science. If you gut this task force, you're gutting the mechanism that ensures patients, especially those in underserved communities, have access to early detection and intervention. You are opening the door for insurance companies to deny coverage for basic screenings, which means more missed cancers, more preventative strokes, more late-stage diagnoses, and more people dying simply because they couldn't afford to catch it early. RFK Jr. has criticized the task force for being too woke because they use inclusive language like pregnant persons and acknowledge structural racism and health outcomes. That's not wokeness. That's reality. And pretending otherwise doesn't change the data. It just puts more people at risk. This isn't about left or right. It's about whether we are going to protect evidence-based guidelines that save lives or replace them with political theater that leaves clinicians powerless and patients abandoned. This will absolutely make my job and other health professionals' jobs much harder. It will make your care worse, and it is a direct threat to public health.
But it's survival level smart. It's like wearing a helmet on a bike full of Instagram likes. Sexy choices can be smart choices. You can be picky and still be fun. HIV today is not the same thing it was 30 years ago. Medicine has come far, but prevention still beats treatment. Knowing your status protects you and everyone you touch. So next time you think about moving cities for a DM, bring two things: a friend and receipts, for both a test and your common sense. Protect your body, protect your future, and for heaven's sake, don't let an influencer be your immune system. If this hit home, go get checked. Tell your people. Be kind, but be clear. And prop a comment. What would you tell someone boarding a plane for love tomorrow? Love is a beautiful risk, but some risks you handle with a condom and a calendar. Be smart, be safe, be silly later.
It is Sunday, August 27th. This week I found out that I have HIV. I was diagnosed on August 23rd. I was diagnosed. Today is my attempt at my first day out. I'm going to the movies with my friend. Had a really hard time with this. It was really hard to get ready. I don't quite know what I want to do with my story. I don't know if I want to share it. I don't know. My mind is 1,000 places at once. But I wanted to document this in case one day I do decide to share it, so that this part of my journey is seen. I also just want to document this for my own self, to see how far I come, because I know I have a life of trials and tribulations, and I know that this is important. This part of the story is important, whatever I make it. That's really all. I never thought I would be here. I never thought I would be talking and recording myself crying. It's not who I am. But I'm here. I'm at my lowest point. Well, I've been lower, actually, which is surprising. But I'm at a really big crossroad in my life, and I'm just here. And I'm thankful for that.
I had been dating him for over a year. From the beginning of our relationship, he always insisted we be intimate without protection. I kept saying no, mainly because I was scared of getting pregnant. But after a year and 5 months together, I decided to give in. I thought I was giving him something special. Right after we were done, he turned to me with a strange look in his eyes and said, "Congratulations, now you have HIV too." At first, I laughed. I thought it was a dark, twisted joke. I couldn't imagine he was being serious. I didn't want to believe it, so I stayed. I stayed for 5 more years, until my body started to change. I had constant fevers, lost weight rapidly, and strange rashes started appearing everywhere. I finally went to the hospital, and I'll never forget the moment the doctor looked at me and said, "You've tested positive for HIV." I was in shock. I immediately called him crying, and that's when
Man, them folks just said down there in Atlanta,
it's been 20,000 new cases of